What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake and the Doc coming back here today to talk about probably one of the most hated people in all of the NFL, especially fantasy football-wise. It's Odell Beckham Jr., and I don't know what it is with this guy. People just love to hate Odell, and I think part of it is because the diva days in New York. But are you ready to do a little discussion, a little deep dive here on OBJ this week, Ethan?
Yes.
Okay, good, because that's all I have to talk about as of right now. So if you would have said no, I have no idea where this show would have gone for the next 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, we'd be in serious trouble.
Yeah. Okay, so Odell Beckham. Now, once again, dealing with injuries in 2020. A lot of people just saying, nah, I'm not even going to mess with that headache. What all was Odell Beckham dealing with last year as a refresher course?
Well, the biggest issue is the ACL tear. He was nicked up most of the year, but the ACL tear in week 7 is obviously the one that everyone's going to be talking about this offseason. And it's a concern. I mean, he's not a spring chicken anymore. He's not the dynasty wide receiver one like he potentially could have been to start his after his first 2 seasons. I mean, we were talking like this is the guy you want to build your entire dynasty squad around, and he's not that anymore. Sadly, 2 major injuries in 4 years is going to do that to you. But again, it was clean. It looks like it's a pretty standard recovery. So, it's not like he had something, worse than the average ACL tear, but it's still a major injury, even though we're getting to this point where I think because we understand ACLs better and we see people come back faster than they ever have, we kind of just like blow it off. Like it's just an ACL tear. Like we see it all the time. We're not really worried about it anymore. And it's not really how it works in real life. Like it's still a major injury. I mean, it's still a major surgery. We're talking about, a really long recovery. And so I just caution people, especially now. I feel like before I was like, you guys are over evaluating these ACL tears. And now I'm telling people like, you're kind of under appreciating how much goes into this. So by all accounts, it should be normal, but just know that normal is still pretty serious.
Yep, still pretty serious. And here's the difference now because of these injuries that are starting to rack up, right? I mean, the laundry list is getting longer by the year. But because of that, now we get him at a cheaper price when it comes to fantasy football, because you used to have to take him in like the first 3 rounds, even as early as last year. Now, all of a sudden, his ADP is creeping back towards the 7th, 8th round-ish, depending on your league format and size. And now, all of a sudden, in my opinion, I have to look at him again. Am I excited? Am I going out there and am I trying to get Odell Beckham? No, I'm really not. However, depending on the way that the draft falls, Odell Beckham could be your wide receiver 3 this year. And if that's the case, I don't hate it as much. Like you said, I don't think we see that ceiling that we saw in 2014, 2015, 2016, where he's getting double-digit touchdowns, 1,300 plus yards. Those days are over, right? Even if he's 100% healthy, I don't see those numbers in a scheme like Cleveland runs, right? Because they're going to be a run-first team, a run-heavy team, especially when they get into the red zone. They're going to rely on Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb to get the ball in the end zone. Like, that's what this team is built around, and we love that for fantasy football. But as far as the wide receivers go, they're kind of just left over with the scraps, the occasional big play. Now, another wide receiver in this offense, Jarvis Landry, who's going even later in drafts, I think we could kind of say has a similar floor and ceiling for the most part, right? So if you're there, are you looking for Odell Beckham in the 7th, 8th-ish, or are you going to wait another round 2, maybe 3, and look towards a Jarvis Landry instead?
Like you said, I think it's really going to depend on how the draft is playing out. If I really feel like, man, I'm set at running back, I'm not going to have any issues at tight end. My first wide receiver, maybe my first 2 wide receivers are stacked. Like I'm feeling really confident. I might go with the upside of OBJ just in case he catches lightning in a bottle, in case he gets fully healthy. And I can use that then as a piece, as a luxury at a wide receiver 3. I always say when you're going in fantasy, when we're talking about injured players, like an OBJ that maybe have this kind of stink on them, like they're not sexy a pick anymore. those are the guys I'm kind of a little bit more bullish on, I guess, in drafts, because the upside is so huge and the downside is basically nothing. I mean, you're getting OBJ right now for the price of a wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 3s are aplenty. You can stream and probably get a wide receiver 3 out of waiver wire pickups throughout the year. I mean, we saw a guy like Travis Fulgham become a fantasy asset for like a month last year. So don't tell me OBJ, even if he's only healthy for half the season, can't be a valuable asset for your fantasy team. That being said, if I'm being totally honest, I'm pretty risk averse. So if I'm picking between him and Landry, I'm probably going to lean towards Landry, because Landry, at least I know what I'm getting and it's going to be consistent all year. It might not have the ceiling, but it also doesn't have the floor of 0 most years. So I'm probably going with Landry, but I think that it really depends on each individual draft and kind of where my board has fallen so far.
Yep, and we say it, and I think I already said it in a video this week, but you know what? Piss on it. I'm going to say it again because I can, because the microphone is on. Everybody has a price during your fantasy football draft. At some point, everybody has a price except for Devin Funchess and Ronald Jones. Those are the only 2 exceptions to the rule, and OBJ is no different, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm not going to go out there and target him. I'm not going to sit here and say, you need to draft Odell Beckham. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But if he falls, if he's all of a sudden sitting there in your draft in round 8, getting crazy, and now it's round 9, and Odell Beckham is sitting there, 100% I'm smashing the draft button, because you can do a couple things, right? A lot of people, when they play fantasy football, depending on how into it they really are, what happens if Odell Beckham comes out and has a good, solid first 2-3 weeks of the season? Now all of a sudden you have some production, which you may not expect to last all 17 games, and you have the name value of Odell Beckham. You could flip him in a trade and get top dollar for him, a few weeks into the season, because we know he may not make it the whole year, and you just capitalize and really, capitalize off the name, right? Because a lot of people in fantasy football still look at names and put too much stock into names. Odell Beckham kind of fits in that category, in my opinion, and he has a price. I wouldn't just automatically scratch him off before my draft starts.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that you have to weigh the value of these guys, each guy individually. And so each draft is different. If he goes in the 7th, I'm not going to be sad that I missed out on him. If he goes in the 6th, I'm definitely not sad that I missed out on that. But if he falls to the 8th, 9th round and my draft's going the way I want it to, yeah, I'm going to pick him up. There's no reason to totally write him off. I did the exact same thing last year with Will Fuller, and he crushed it for me. I mean, until, he got caught with PDs.
He was cheating. Yeah.
He crushed it for me. And I was thrilled to have, that at my wide receiver 3. He was, again, another guy that kind of had the stigma, the stink on him. And when you get past that initial, oh gosh, that was terrible, you can end up with something that, is pretty good, feels pretty good on the palate. So, I would say that I'm not opposed to it as long as the price is right.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot here really quick. We're going to play a little bit of a game. I didn't even tell you we're going to do this, and this is what's going to make it fun. I'm going to give you 2 wide receivers that are all drafted in similar areas. You are going to, off the top of your head, tell me which receiver you would rather have.
Bring it, Jake.
You ready?
Bring it.
Okay, then we're going to compare Odell Beckham to all these names. So Odell Beckham is going to be your one choice. You going with Odell Beckham or Courtland Sutton?
Probably Sutton. He's younger. I expect him to bounce back.
He bounces back quicker because he's younger, right? He's got those young bones. Okay, got it. Odell Beckham or DJ Chark?
Chark.
Okay.
I love the wide receiver 1 for Jacksonville, even though I will say I do think Marvin Jones is going to end up being Trevor Lawrence's binky. You just wait.
I don't like that statement. I don't like that. Okay, Odell Beckham or Kenny Golladay?
Oh, Kenny G all day, baby.
Wow. Odell Beckham or T. Higgins?
Ooh. I'm going to go with Odell.
Okay. Odell Beckham. No bias in this next one. Odell Beckham or Juju?
A Juju. The bias is always going to be there. I refuse to take it away.
Okay,
but
so
I'm
the
going to go with
bias
Juju.
Was a part of that answer.
I'm going to go with Juju because I don't think Deontay is a true wide receiver 1, and Juju's going to get like 120 targets. So
okay. Okay, well, we're gonna make this maybe a little bit more difficult, maybe not. Odell Beckham or Debo Samuel.
Ooh, ooh. I probably go. I probably go OBJ there.
Okay, so that's kind of where you're drawing the line at right there. What about
It's
Odell
close.
Beckham or Robbie Anderson?
OBJ for sure. Higher upside. I'm gonna take that all day.
OBJ or Devontae Smith?
OBJ. I don't love rookies in redraft.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan either. And the last one, Odell Beckham or Jamar Chase?
um. Gosh darn it! I just said that I
You
don't
just
like.
said it. That's why I used him.
But he was my number one rookie wide receiver. I think Jamar Chase is special. I think Jamar Chase is OBJ-esque. And so I'm going to go with Jamar Chase, but it is close.
Like we're towing the line, right? Like
We're like,
are on it.
I'm assuming that Joe Burrow's going to be healthy too. So if
Dude,
Joe
he
Burrow's
looks healthy
and Jamar Chase is his binky, like
100% Binky.
he could like do some pretty crazy things as a rookie. So I'm going to go with Jamar Chase, but those were close.
That's right. I kind of just want to throw it out there because those are all guys with similar ADP. Just trying to gauge where is that line, because everybody has that line, and it really depends who's on the board when you're really on the clock. But we want to stay as interactive as possible with this stuff. So Odell Beckham, you gonna consider it, or are you just gonna cross him off before the season even starts? Put that down below in the comment section. Now, one section of our draft guide, if you're not familiar with it, Dr. Ethan Turner himself goes through, does a complete injury history, gives a risk rating to all the major guys coming off of injury here into 2021. Odell Beckham going to be one of those guys in the draft book. So make sure, if that's something you're looking forward to, that you check it out at thefantasyheadliners.com and get yourself pre-ordered right now. But what are you doing with OBJ? Throw it down below. Do us a favor, though. Do us a solid. Hit the like button, because it's the off season. We grinding out content, and we just trying to make up for the lower view count here in the off season. I mean, I'm just trying to get to the point to where I can afford to pay Ethan to get a haircut at this point. That's what we're really going for.
That really stings, Jake.
That's okay. It's
really stings.
I mean, we're letting it flow off season style is what we're doing right now. Yeah.
It stings, Jake.
It's nothing but love. Everybody out there, show yourself some love for Dr. Ethan Turner. We appreciate him being here today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're looking for all things fantasy football all year long, we got you covered. But hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you later.